Good morning, children. Yesterday we have completed till bony fishes, but near the examples we have stopped. So once again, I'll read the bony fishes, children. These bony fishes are aquatic, which lives both in marine as well as freshwater. And these organisms are elongated and streamlined. The body is covered with circular scales or phenoid scales. Mouth is terminal, whereas four gills are four lamella-form gills, and the respiration occurs by the gills. Gills are with operculum. Air bladder is present. Air bladder is a hydrostatic organ which helps for the buoyancy. And also we have seen about the heart. Heart is of two chambers, whereas one auricle and one ventricle. Circulation is of closed type of circulation. And when it comes to the fertilization, reproduction is of sexual reproduction. Fertilization is external fertilization. And these organisms are oviparous. Now we have to see the examples of bony fishes or osteichthyes. Examples for bony fishes. We have seen the examples for cartilaginous fishes, but now you will see the examples for bony fishes. The examples for bony fishes, there are different examples. Why different examples are present in bony fishes is, some bony fishes are living in marine and some are living in the aquatic. So now you will see the examples. Which are the fishes living in marine water and which are the fishes living in fresh water? So if you see the fishes, bony fishes living in marine water, these are exocoetus. Exocoetus. The common name for exocoetus is flying fish. Flying fish. Exocoetus, flying fish. So another example for marine fish or bony fish is hippocampus. Hippocampus. So the common name for hippocampus is seahorse. Common name is a seahorse. So when comes to the marine, when comes to the fresh bony fishes, when comes to the freshwater organisms or the bony fishes which are living in freshwater, so example for this is Labiorota, or we can call as rohu fish, or Katla fish. Sirhinus mrigala. So like this different kinds of examples we can give for freshwater organisms. And now we will see the bony fishes which are kept in aquarium. What is meant by aquarium, children? Already you know that the fishes which are kept in the home. So in aquarium, what are the fishes which are used in aquarium is betta. Betta. The common name for betta is fighting fish. Common name for betta is fighting fish. Another aquarium fish is Pterophyllum. Pterophyllum. The common name for Pterophyllum is angelfish. Angelfish. These are the examples for bony fishes. So sometimes while match the following or choose the correct answers, they will give which is odd one or which does not belongs to bony fishes. So in that way also the bit will come whether even the examples as well as they will ask the common name also. So exocoetus, flying fish is the common name. Hippocampus, seahorse. Labiorota, rohu fish. Katla fish. Aquarium, the fishes which are kept in aquarium are betta, fighting fish. Pterophyllum, angelfish. Angelfish. Now we will see just a small differences, few differences between cartilaginous fishes and bony fishes. So what are the differences? So if you know the differences only we can come to know each and every point. So the differences between cartilaginous fishes and bony fishes, or otherwise we can call as chondrichthyes. Chondrichthyes, differences between chondrichthyes and osteichthyes. Chondrichthyes and osteichthyes. Osteichthyes means the fishes which are made up of with the endoskeleton made up of with bone. Cartilaginous fishes or chondrichthyes. Endoskeleton made up of with cartilage. Osteichthyes. Endoskeleton made up of with the bone. Now we will see the difference. Here, the endoskeleton, these are marine organisms. All the cartilaginous fishes are marine. These organisms, that is bony fishes, are marine and freshwater. Marine and freshwater. So these organisms lives in marine and freshwater. Here the body is long and eel-like. Body is long and eel-like. Here it has body, the body of bony fishes is elongated. Elongated. Body is elongated. Body is covered with placoid scales. The body of cartilaginous fishes is covered with placoid scale, whereas the body of bony fishes is covered with phenoid scales or circular scales. Phenoid scales are, we can write as circular scales. Phenoid scales are a circular scale. Endoskeleton of chondrichthyes is made up of with cartilage. The main important point is endoskeleton of chondrichthyes is made up of with cartilage, whereas the endoskeleton of osteichthyes is made up of with bone. Is made up of with a bone. Respiration occurs by 5 to 7 gills, whereas respiration here occurs by 4 lamella gills. 4 lamella gills. The gills are without operculum. So, operculum is absent. Operculum is absent, whereas in bony fishes, operculum is present. Operculum is present. Air bladder. Air bladder is absent. Air bladder is absent in cartilaginous fishes, whereas air bladder is present. Air bladder is present in bony fishes. Present in bony fishes. Then we see the mouth. Mouth is ventral. Mouth is ventral. Mouth is ventral in cartilaginous fishes. Here, the mouth in osteichthyes is terminal. Terminal means the end part of the anterior part. So, towards the anterior part, the end part, which the mouth where it is present towards the edge of the anterior part, that is terminal part of the mouth. And all these organisms are viviparous. Viviparous. Fertilization is internal fertilization. Internal fertilization. Here these organisms are oviparous. Oviparous, whereas fertilization is external fertilization. External fertilization. So these are the differences between cartilaginous fishes and bony fishes. So till here we have completed about the pisces. In vertebrates we have completed about pisces. So according to the division in Gnathostomata, yesterday we have seen Gnathostomata is divided into two superclasses. One is pisces, another one is tetrapod. So the next superclass is tetrapod. The next one is tetrapods. So Pisces is divided into two classes, that is Chondrichthyes, another one is Osteichthyes. So the next one is, next Gnathostomata is tetrapod. Tetra. Tetra means four. Tetra means four. Pods means foot. Poda or pods means foot. So the organisms which consists of four limbs, or we can say all the tetrapod organisms consists of two limbs, two pairs of limbs, two pairs of limbs. So what are the two pairs of limbs? We can say forelimbs and hind limbs. Forelimbs and hind limbs. Forelimbs and hind limbs. So all these organisms, tetrapod, tetra means four, poda means foot. So all these organisms consists of two pairs of limbs. One are forelimbs, another one is hind limbs. And also we can say these organisms consists of pentadactyl limbs. Pentadactyl limbs. Penta means what? Five. Penta means five. So pentadactyl limbs are nothing but each limb consists of five digits. Five digits means nothing but figures. Suppose mammals, if you take example, we have five digits in each limb. So the same way, most of the tetrapod organisms consists of two pairs of pentadactyl limbs. Two pairs of pentadactyl limbs. All these tetrapod organisms are terrestrial. Most of these organisms, most of the tetrapod organisms are terrestrial. Few organisms are aquatic. Few organisms are aquatic, whereas few organisms are amphibians. Few organisms are amphibians. So, some of these tetrapods, or we can say most of the tetrapod organisms are terrestrial. Terrestrial organisms is the organisms which live on the land. Reptiles, aves, mammals, they are present on the land. Aquatic. So which tetrapods are aquatic means, suppose if you take turtle, turtle is nothing but common name we'll call as tortoise. So turtles, most crocodiles, though they are reptiles also, they are aquatic. And some of the amphibians are also aquatic. Amphibian or amphibians means the organisms which can live in land and which can live on the land and which can live in the water are amphibians. And these tetrapods, heart is, if you see the respiration, these organisms respiration is of different types. So what kind of different types of these tetrapods are having is, respiration of tetrapods occurs by different kinds of respiratory organs. So what are the respiratory organs of tetrapods means? Some organisms are the organisms which are present on the land respires with lungs. The organisms which are present in the water respires with gills and moist skin. Gills and moist skin. Whereas some organisms respires with a buccopharyngeal cavity. Buccopharyngeal cavity. Buccopharyngeal cavity. So like this different organs are present. When we see the heart also, the heart is different in different organisms. So in tetrapods, different kinds of chambers are present in heart. Some organisms has three chambers. Some organisms has four chambers. So these are the some of the characters which are related to the tetrapods. So this tetrapod is again divided into four classes. Already yesterday I have said Tetrapods are divided into four classes. What are the four classes of tetrapods? Is amphibia, amphibia. Second one is reptiles, reptilia, amphibia, reptilia. Amphibians means the organisms which lives inland and which lives on the land and in water. Those organisms are amphibians. Reptiles, the organisms or crawling or creeping organisms, or we can say which uses crawling and creeping for the locomotion. Such kind of organisms are called reptiles. And the third one is aves. Aves. All the birds comes under aves. Fourth one is mammals. The organisms which possess mammalia, which possess mammary glands are called mammals. So now among these tetrapods, we will discuss about amphibians. So among these, now we will discuss about the amphibians. Amphibians. So amphi means amphi. The meaning of amphi is both, both or jewel. The meaning of amphi is both are dual. Bios. Bios means life. Bios means life. So amphibians are the organisms which has dual nature of living. What is meant by dual nature of living? These organisms can live in water. Amphibians are the organisms which live in water and on land and on land. So these are the amphibians or the organisms which can live in water and which can live on the land. Such kind of organisms are called amphibians. So these are the first vertebrates. Amphibians are the first vertebrates which came onto the land. So which are the first vertebrates came onto the land? Amphibians are the first vertebrates which came onto the land. Which period is known as golden period of amphibians? Carboniferous period. Carboniferous period is known as the golden age of amphibians. Golden age. Why we are calling as golden age is during Carboniferous period, the organisms called amphibians has flourished well. Flourished well means more number of amphibians were existed during this period are developed during this period. So we are calling Carboniferous period as golden age. Yesterday we have seen what is the golden age of Pisces. Golden age of Pisces is Devonian period. Devonian period is known as the golden age of Pisces, whereas Carboniferous period is the golden age of amphibians. Because in this way also they may ask the which. So Carboniferous period is the golden age of amphibians. But here one thing what we have to see here is though these amphibians came out of the land also, still they have a tie up with the water because these amphibians came out from the water onto the land. But though they came onto the land also, still they have a relationship with the water. So for which process these organisms are tied to the aquatic habitat means they are tied to the aquatic habitat for the reproduction purpose. For the reproduction purpose. So during reproduction, these organisms again enter to the water, enter to the water and because why these organisms are laying the eggs in the water means the eggs of amphibians are not covered with thick shell. Suppose if the eggs are laid on the soil, what happens? Because of absence of shell around the eggs, shell is absent. What is absent around the eggs? Shell is absent. Shell is absent. So eggs shell is absent. So if these eggs are laid on the land, they will dry. They will dry. So for that purpose, because of absence of shell, the amphibians go to the water and lays the egg. So for that purpose only till the amphibians are tied to the aquatic habitat. So in now we will see how this, what is the structure of amphibians and what are the general characters of amphibians. If you see the amphibians body, the body of amphibians is divided into two parts. The body of amphibians is divided into two parts. One is head, another one is trunk. Head and trunk. Head and trunk. So body is divided into two parts. One is head and trunk. So head, if you see, head consists of, the head of amphibians consists of an elongated mouth, elongated mouth, elongated mouth, whereas mouth consists of teeth, teeth and bifid tongue. So eyes are well developed. Eyes are well developed with eyelids. Eyes are well developed with eyelids. When near to the eye, we can see a membrane called tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane, or we can say tympanum is present near to the eye. What is the function of tympanic membrane or tympanum? So eyes are well developed. Eyes are covered with the eyelids. Tympanic membrane is present, or a fold of membrane called tympanic membrane is present near to the eyes. So that tympanic membrane acts as ears, or we can say that tympanic membrane is nothing but an ear. So the body has two parts, we said head and trunk. Body is covered with, body is covered with soft, soft and moist skin. Soft and moist skin, whereas scales are absent. Scales are absent on the body of amphibians. Body is covered with soft, moist skin, whereas scales are absent. So next we'll come to the respiratory system. So when we see the respiration of amphibians is of three ways. So how the respiration of amphibians is of three ways is, already we have seen amphibians has dual nature of habitat. Dual nature means which can live in water and which can be living on the, which can live on the land. So respiration. Respiration is of, mostly we can say of two ways only. But why I am saying as three ways is, some larval form exhibits the third respiratory organ also is present in some amphibians larval form. So respiration, most of the amphibians, respiration occurs by lungs. So the main important respiratory organ for amphibians is lungs. The organisms which respires with the lungs is called pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration is the organisms which respires with lungs is called pulmonary respiration. So another respiration also is present when the organism enters to water. This is lung respiration takes place on the land, takes place on land, or we can call as terrestrial amphibians. Terrestrial amphibians is when the organism is on land. Terrestrial amphibians respires with the help of lungs, which we are calling as pulmonary respiration. When the organism is in water, it respires with the help of moist skin. With the help of moist skin. So the organisms or the amphibians which respires with the skin is called cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration occurs when the organism is in water. So when the amphibians are in water, they respire with moist skin. So organisms respiring with the skin are called cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration takes place in water. In some organisms are, we can say, suppose example, frog, if you see, frog sometimes respires with the help of buccal cavity. The help of buccal cavity, such kind of respiration is called buccopharyngeal respiration. Buccopharyngeal respiration. Buccopharyngeal respiration also takes place when the organism is on the land during resting stage. So frog sometimes respires with the help of buccal cavity. Such kind of respiration is called buccopharyngeal respiration, which occurs on the land. And when see, I said, even sometimes these amphibians respires with the gill. Suppose the larva of frog is called tadpole larva. The larva of frog is called tadpole larva. Tadpole larva hatching or the larva hatches, eggs are hatched in the water already in starting itself I have said, though the organisms came to the land also still they have a tie-up with the habitat of aquatic or with water. For which purpose? Reproduction purpose I said. So after the eggs are hatched, the larva which comes out of the frog is tadpole larva. Tadpole larva breathe with the help of gills. Breathe with the help of a gills. The organism which breathe with the help of gills is called branchial respiration. Branchial respiration. Branchial respiration. So match the following, they will give lungs. We have to match pulmonary respiration, skin, cutaneous respiration, buccal cavity, buccopharyngeal respiration, gills, branchial respiration, and they will add even invertebrate respiratory organs also while they are giving the bit as a match the following. Or sometimes they will ask you to find which is the odd among these following also they will ask. So next one is circulation. So circulation is of closed type of circulation. All the amphibians has closed type of circulation, blood vessels, capillaries, sinus, arteriosus, portal system. These all things are well developed. And also erythrocytes are nucleated. Erythrocytes. What are erythrocytes? Erythrocytes are red blood cells. So erythrocytes are nucleated. Erythrocytes are nucleated. Why I am saying as nucleated is, for suppose some of the mammals, erythrocytes are enucleated. Enucleated means RBC lacks or nucleus is absent in RBC of some of the mammals. But here in amphibians, erythrocytes are nucleated. Heart is of three chambers. Heart is of three chambers. The heart of amphibians is of three chambers. That is two auricles and one ventricle. Two auricles and one ventricle. Next one is nervous system, or after excretion we will go for nervous system. Excretion. Excretion occurs by mesonephric kidneys. Mesonephric kidneys. Excretion occurs by mesonephric kidneys. Mesonephric kidneys. So the excretory substance which comes out of the amphibians is urea. Which comes out of the amphibians is urea. So these organisms are called ureotelic organisms. Ureotelic organisms. Yesterday already I have said nitrogenous waste materials are three types. These nitrogenous waste materials are formed in an organism after the metabolic activities. So basing on the availability of water, different organisms gives out different kinds of excretory products. The organisms which consumes more water will give ammonia. The organisms which takes adequate amount of water will gives out urea. The organisms which consumes less water gives out uric acid. So all the amphibians gives out as an excretory waste material urea. So these organisms are ureotelic organisms. Now we will see the nervous system. The nervous system is well developed in amphibians. Nervous system is well developed in amphibians, whereas cranium or this brain is well developed, and brain consists of two kinds of meninges. Brain consists of two kinds of meninges. What are the two kinds of meninges? Meninges are nothing but the layers which covers the brain. What are the two meninges developed in amphibians is pia mater and dura mater. Pia mater and dura mater. These both are the two meninges which are formed on the brain. So two meninges are developed in amphibians. The two meninges are pia mater and dura mater. Which organisms meninges started developing? In amphibians itself. And also, if you see the cranial nerves are also well developed. How many pairs of cranial nerves are present in amphibians is 10 pairs of cranial nerves. 10 pairs of cranial nerves are developed in amphibians. And if you see the sense organs already before I have explained when we are seeing about the head region, the sense organs in these amphibians, I said that is eyes. Eyes are bulged and eyes are very well developed, which has the eyelid. Another sense organ is the tympanum. Tympanum which is present beside to the eye, that acts as an ear. So tympanic membrane develops besides the eye, which acts as an auditory, or we can say which acts as an ear. That are the sense organs. But here what we have to see is the eyes possess lacrimal glands. Eyes of amphibians, eyes of amphibian possess lacrimal glands. What are lacrimal glands? Lacrimal glands are the glands which are present in the eye for producing tears. Tears means a watery substance which comes out of the eye are tears. So lacrimal glands produces watery substance from the eye, or we can call as a tears. So in this way, now you see about the reproduction. So when we see the reproduction, all these amphibians reproduction occurs by sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means reproduction which is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete is the sexual reproduction. Fertilization. Fertilization is external fertilization. Fertilization is external. External fertilization means fertilization which occurs outside the body is a external fertilization. Development. Development is indirect development. Development is a indirect development. Already I have said that development is of two ways. One is direct development, another one is indirect development. Indirect development includes larva. What is the larva of amphibians? Or we can give tadpole larva. Tadpole larva. Direct development means which resembles the same as a parent. Now we will see what are the examples. And here, one more thing we have to speak about amphibians is the peculiar character in amphibians is most of the vertebrates digestive system has separate opening, whereas urinogenital system has separate opening, that is the urinary system. Another one is reproductive system. Reproductive system has separate opening. But whereas in amphibians, the peculiar character in amphibians is alimentary canal, alimentary canal. Another one is what? Urinary duct, urinary duct, and another one is reproductive duct, reproductive duct. Both these three canals or both three ducts opens to a single chamber called cloacal chamber. Single chamber called cloacal chamber. So cloacal chamber consists of what are the three ducts opens to the cloacal chamber? Alimentary duct also opens to the cloacal chamber. Urinary duct also opens to the cloacal chamber. Whereas reproductive tract also opens to the cloacal chamber. Cloacal chamber is the single chamber which connects for three systems. So this cloacal chamber opens out exteriorly through cloacal aperture. Through cloacal aperture. These all systems we will see in the structural organization of animals. What is the function of this and how this is opening? We can find in structural organization of an animal. So the examples are amphibians. Examples are amphibians is buffo. So the common name for buffo is toad. Buffo. Common name is toad. Another one is Rana tigrina. Rana tigrina, frog. Rana tigrina, frog. Hyla. Hyla. The common name for Hyla is tree frog. Common name for Hyla is a tree frog. Then salamandra. Salamandra we can call as salamander. We can call as a salamander. Then Ichthyopus. Ichthyopus. Ichthyopus is a limbless amphibian. Limbless amphibian. Limbless amphibian. These are the examples for a amphibians. Once again, I'll say children, amphi means both or dual, bios means life. These are the organisms which can live in water and on the land. These organisms' body is skin. Skin is very smooth, moist and scaleless. Body is divided into two parts, head and trunk. These organisms are present in the water and present on the land. But these organisms are still tied up to the water for the reproductive system, which lays where the eggs where the shell is absent, and these organisms respires with the help of different kinds of respiratory organs like lungs, gills and skin. When it is on the land, it respires with the help of lungs, that is pulmonary respiration. When it is in the water, it respires with moist skin, that we are calling as the cutaneous respiration. When it is larval stage, it respires with the help of gills, which we are calling as branchial respiration. And some of the times the frog respires with the buccal cavity, which we are calling as buccopharyngeal respiration. Heart is of three chambers, two auricles and one ventricle, whereas circulation is of closed type of circulation, and RBC is with the nucleus. Portal system and everything is well developed in these organisms. Excretion is mesonephric kidneys. Kidneys are well developed and they excrete urea. So such kind of organisms are called ureotelic organisms. Nervous system is well developed with brain and spinal nerves. as well as the vertebral column, which is having sacral, this and all this structure we will discuss in structural organization of animals. But whereas the nervous dura mater, which covers the brain. Cranial nerves are well developed with 10 pairs of cranial nerves. And it has well developed sense organs. The sense organs present in amphibians is eyes and ears. Eyes are well developed with the eyelids near to the eye. Tympanic membrane is present, which acts as an ear. Reproduction is sexual reproduction. Fertilization is external fertilization. Development is indirect, which includes tadpole larva. So the examples, and one more thing I have said, the peculiar character in amphibians is three systems opens to the same chamber. What are the three systems? Is alimentary tract, urinary tract, and reproductive tract. These three tracts opens to a common chamber called cloacal chamber. This cloacal chamber opens to the exterior of the body by cloacal aperture. The examples for this is buffo, which we are common name as toad, Rana tigrina frog, Hyla tree frog, Salamandra salamander, and Ichthyopus is a limbless amphibia. So these are the general characters of amphibians. The next class under Gnathostomata or tetrapod is reptiles. So the next one is reptiles. The next tetrapod is reptilia. The next tetrapod is a reptilia. So the word reptilia is a Latin word. The word reptilia came from a Latin word referee or reptum. Referee or reptum, which means crawl or creep. Crawl or creep. Crawl or creep. So the word reptilia is derived from a Latin word which means referee or reptum. So the meaning of referee or reptum is crawling or creeping. So all these organisms, reptilian organisms, are crawling and creeping organisms, or all crawling and creeping organisms comes under reptilia. Or another way also we can say all the organisms which has a crawling and creeping movement for locomotion. Such kind of organisms comes under reptilia. These are the first vertebrates which came completely onto the land. So these are the first vertebrates completely. Why we are calling as completely? Amphibians also we have said. I have said the same point. These are the first vertebrates which came onto the land, I said, but not completely onto the land because still they have an attachment with the water. Which organisms? Amphibians. But whereas in reptilia, these are the first vertebrates which completely present on the land. Completely present on the land or present on the land, or we can say completely adopted to the terrestrial mode of life. Terrestrial mode of life means which are completely have their life on the land. So these organisms, reptilian organisms, are well developed during Mesozoic era. Mesozoic era. Mesozoic era is called the golden age of reptiles. Mesozoic era is known as the golden age of reptiles. What is the golden age of Pisces? Devonian period. Golden age of amphibians. Carboniferous period. Golden age of reptiles. Mesozoic era. The body is covered, the body of these reptiles is covered with scales, covered with the scales. The skin of these organisms is dry and cornified skin. Cornified, cornified skin. So these organisms' body is having scales. Scales also, which scales we can say? Dry scales. Skin of these organisms are reptilia has dry and cornified skin. What is meant by cornified skin is the uppermost layer of epidermis forms into a dry scale-like parts. So such kind of skin we will call as a cornified skin. Body is divided. Body of these organisms is divided into four parts. Body of these organisms is divided into four parts. What are the four parts of these organisms is head, neck, trunk and tail. Trunk and tail. Body of reptiles are divided into four parts: head, neck, trunk and tail. The respiration. So respiration occurs by only with the help of lungs. All the reptile organisms respires with lungs. Such kind of respiration is called pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration. So when it comes to the circulation, so circulation if you see, circulation is closed type of circulation. Closed type of circulation where the circulatory system is well developed with all the systems and it reaches to each and every cell. Heart is of heart is of three chambers. Heart is of three chambers. So all the reptiles heart is of three chambers. What are the three chambers of the heart is two auricles and one ventricle. One ventricle. Except in crocodiles. Except in crocodile. Whereas crocodile has four chambers. Crocodile has four chambers. Important big children. How many chambers are present? Which reptilia has four chambered heart? Crocodile. Which reptilia has four chambered heart is the crocodile. And excretion. So excretion occurs by metanephric kidneys. Metanephric. What is the difference between mesonephric and metanephric? Already I have written as a mesonephric in pisces and amphibians, whereas metanephric kidneys in reptiles. Metanephric kidneys is well developed, whereas mesonephric is little bit development, little development. But metanephric kidneys means well developed kidneys. So these organisms gives out uric acid. Uric acid is the nitrogenous waste material which comes out of the kidneys. So these organisms are called uricotalic organisms. Uricotalic organisms. So what are uricotalic organisms? The organisms which gives out uric acid as an excretory waste material are called uricotalic organisms. Why reptiles are giving out uric acid as a nitrogenous waste material means these organisms consumes less water. Little water only will be consumed by these organisms so that they gives out a uric acid. Nervous system. So the nervous system of these organisms is well developed than the amphibians. So how it is well developed if you see, the same way here also, if you see the nervous system, the main part of the nervous system is brain. Brain consists of the same parts in amphibians. So how, what are the same parts? Means the brain consists of two parts, that is pia mater and dura mater. Pia mater and dura mater, which are the meninges which are the meninges which covers the brain, Nervous system, all these reptilian organisms has 12 pairs of cranial nerves. 12 pairs of cranial nerves. How many pairs of cranial nerves we have seen in amphibians? 10 pairs of cranial nerves we have seen in amphibians. But whereas in reptiles, 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present except in snakes. Except in snakes. Snakes has only 10 pairs of cranial nerves. Snakes has 10 pairs of cranial nerves. Which reptile has 10 pairs of cranial nerves? Snakes. Snake, though it belongs to reptiles also, it has only 10 pairs of cranial nerves. And sense organs. Sense organs. Sense organs are eyes and ears. Eyes are well developed. Eyes are well developed with eyelids. Eyes are well developed with eyelids. Whereas when comes to the ear, already we have said that the tympanic membrane is present, which acts as an ear. But here in amphibians, we have seen the tympanic membrane near to the eye, that is outside or on the body, near to the eye, that is which is present on the body. But whereas in reptiles, the tympanic membrane forms as a inner border, inner border, inner border to the external auditory meatus. External auditory, external auditory meatus, external auditory meatus. So the tympanic membrane will not be present towards the exterior part of the, will not be present towards the exterior part of the organism. It is present as an inner border to the external auditory meatus. So the development has increased. So when it comes to the mammals, all the parts of tympanic membrane will be present in the ear, that is inner to the body part. So the development or the complexity of this system is increasing from one class to another class. But when it comes to this auditory meatus or olfactory, if we see the snakes, in snakes, a special sensory organ has well developed. What is the special sense organ developed in the scales is a special structures called olfactory structures. Olfactory structures are well developed in snakes. The name of the olfactory structures which are well developed in the snakes are called Jacobson's organ. Jacobson's organ. So Jacobson's organs are they. Jacobson's organ. So Jacobson's organs are well developed in which? Snakes and lizards. Snakes and lizards. Snakes and lizards. So snakes and lizards, special olfactory structures called Jacobson's organs are well developed. And here one more peculiar character also we have to see. The peculiar character in only in snakes and lizards is I said already during the reptile characters itself, body is covered with dry scales, I said. Skin is tough, rigid, which is covered with dry scales. But in snakes and lizards, it has a nature that sometimes the snakes and lizards will be removing the skin. So that process we will call as skin casting. Skin cast we will call or skin casting. Skin casting means the dry scales which are formed on the body of snakes and lizards will be removing frequently. That in Telugu we will call as Pusavadaladam we will call. So snakes, mostly in snakes we can see in the bushes, they will be removing they will be casting their snake. Old ones will be casted. Again new skin will be formed. So that is skin casting. That is the peculiar character in reptiles. Reptiles also which reptiles? Snakes and lizards. And one more peculiar character is there for the for a turtle. For turtle, or we can say as tortoise. Excretory system, I said, excretion occurs by metanephric kidneys in all the reptiles, I said. So excretion in the reptile takes place by metanephric kidneys. But whereas in turtle or we can call as chelone. So turtle or chelone, the excretory organ where it is present, or the excretory organ, not excretory organ, exchange of gases. So an exchange of gases, I said, all the reptiles exchange of gases takes place by lungs, we said. That is pulmonary. But here in turtles, the exchange of gases takes place by vascular, vascular cloacal aperture. Vascular cloacal aperture. So vascular cloacal aperture is vascular cloacal aperture. Vascular cloacal aperture is the hole or a pore which is present towards the posterior part of the body in turtle. What is turtle? Turtle is a type of tortoise which lives in marine water. So this turtle will be present only in the marine water. So no gills. Mostly these organisms are terrestrial organisms. But the turtle sometimes it enters to the water and comes out. When it is in water, respiration or exchange of gas in turtles takes place through vascular cloacal chamber or vascular cloacal aperture. This is the peculiar character in this. Now we will see the reproduction. So reproduction of these organisms, reproduction. So reproduction is sexual reproduction. Reproduction is sexual reproduction. Fertilization. Fertilization is fertilization. Fertilization is internal fertilization. Internal fertilization means fertilization which occurs inside the body. Development is direct development. Development is direct development. Direct development. So these are the features of this. And also we can say most of these organisms are oviparous. All these organisms are oviparous. Some viviparous organisms are also there. What are the organisms which are viviparous? Viviparous means the reptiles which gives directly birth to the young one. So for this we can give examples. Russell's viper. Russell's viper is a poisonous snake which gives directly birth to this. Another one is boa. Boa is one of the organism or a snake-like organism which gives directly to the young one. Another one is green snake or tree snake. Tree snake. Tree snake also is a viviparous. Remaining all the reptiles are oviparous. All the reptiles are oviparous. Oviparous is so few reptiles. What are the few reptiles? Russell's viper, boa, and tree snake are the reptiles which gives directly birth to the young one, whereas all the reptiles are oviparous. Now we will see the examples of reptiles. So the examples of reptiles. So first we will see the examples. So before saying these examples, we know that even the tortoise also comes under reptiles. But by commonly we will call, though it is living in the marine water or though it is living in the fresh water, or the tortoise which is living on the land also commonly we will call as tortoise. But different words we have to use for the organisms basing on the habitat. Suppose the tortoise which is living in marine water is called chelone. Is called a chelone. So the common name for this organism. The common name of this chelone is turtle. Is a turtle. So why turtle? What is meant by turtle? The tortoise which lives in marine water is turtle. Another one is testudo. Testudo is tortoise. Common name is tortoise. So here you can write marine, marine. Here it is a terrestrial. Terrestrial means which is living on the land. Another one is the tryonics. Tryonics. Tryonics which is living in fresh water. Which is living in a fresh water. So Chiloni is a tortoise. We'll call it Tatil, the organism which is living in marine. Testudo, tortoise, living on the land. Tryonix, terrapin, which is living in fresh water. And another one is the Hyla or Hemidactylis. Hemidactylis. Hemidactylis is nothing but a wall lizard. Wall lizard. Wall lizard we will call, common name is wall lizard. Hemidactylis, wall lizard. Then chameleon. 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 Chameleon is a tree lizard. Chameleon is a tree lizard. Calops. Calops. Calops is a garden lizard. Calops is a garden lizard. So in Telugu we can call this one Hemidactylus wall lizard. God made that Balli, actual common name we will call as Balli only, but wall lizard we will call chameleon. Tree lizard. Tree lizard is nothing but in Telugu we will call a Osaravelli. Then Caloptis is garden lizard, which we'll call as Konda. So like this, different kinds of organisms are present. And alligators we can give, dinosaurs we can give the examples for tetrapods. And if you see the snakes, snakes, poisonous snakes are there, non-poisonous snakes are there. So if you see the poisonous snakes, Naza, the common name which we are calling as cobra or Indian cobra, Naza. Russell's viper. Russell's viper. In Telugu we will call Rakta Pinjari. So Russell's viper, viper snake. Viper snake. So these are all poisonous snakes. Non-poisonous snakes we can give. A rat snake we can give the example. Pond snake we can give, which is a non-poisonous pond snake. Then tree snake. These are all non-poisonous snakes. So these are the general characters of a reptilia. And these all the characters or the examples comes under extant species. Extant means the organisms or the reptiles which are present on the land. But the extant reptiles are also there. That extant reptiles are nothing but extinct reptiles. Extant means present which are living on the land. Extinct means already they died. So that we will call as fossils also. The extinct reptiles are dinosaurs, which we call as the terrible lizards or horrified lizards. Terrible lizards are the extinct organisms, that is dinosaurs. Okay, once again I'll repeat, children. This reptiles is nothing but came from a Latin word referee or reptum, which means crawling or creeping organisms. These crawling, creeping organisms are called reptiles. These are the first organisms which completely adopted on the land. These organisms' body is covered with dry, tough and scaly skin. Body is divided into four parts: head, neck, trunk, and another one is the tail. And the respiratory system is well developed with lungs, pulmonary respiration, except in crocodiles, except in Chiloni, that is tortoise. Because tortoise, the exchange of gases takes place through vascular cloacal chamber. Heart is of three chambers, two auricles and one ventricle. But whereas in crocodiles, heart consists of four chambers, remaining all the reptiles only three chambers. Excretion occurs by metanephric kidneys. The excretory substance which comes out of the body is uric acid. Uric acid. So these organisms are called uricotelic organisms, which we are calling as because they are giving uric acid, they consume less amount of water. Nervous system is well developed with 12 pairs of cranial nerves, whereas only snake has 10 pairs of cranial nerves. Sense organs like eyes, ears are well developed. Eyes consists of lacrimal glands and eyelids. Tympanic membrane is not present toward near the eye. It is present as the inner border of auditory meatus. And all these organisms exhibit sexual mode of reproduction. Fertilization is internal, and these are oviparous organisms except Russell's viper and boa and green snake. So these are viviparous, whereas remaining are oviparous organisms. So different kinds of examples we have seen: Chiloni, Trionyx, Testido, Chameleon, Hemidactylis, and Russell's viper, Nasa, rat snakes, pond snakes. These are the examples for reptilia. And these organisms have well developed during Mesozoic era. So this is called the golden age of reptiles.